Nightcrawler, first mini episode ever. I'm MadZack Nightcrawler, and I am here to talk about Mad Max by myself. I am operating the control panels, going crazy, going bizarre, going filthy bananas, and I want to talk to you about my all-time favorite action film series ever. And of course, it's George Miller's Mad Max. And Max is about always searching for redemption, and not just as like an abstract place, but as a real physical space. Like redemption actually is a place. It's weird to explain, but he's searching for redemption like a lot of people search for cities or destinations. Redemption is actually a habitable destination, and of course, it's all flung through and filtered through George Miller's psychopathic iconography. I mean, this is apocalypse punk cinema. It's an anti-violent universe of holy mayhem and high-octane energy. And Mad Max, you should look at him as the quintessentially postmodern Western hero without, you know, an overwhelming psychology or philosophy, or maybe he is the only philosophical person inside of a universe that refuses to have a psychology. I mean, he's the road warrior. I mean, holy Moses, vehicular chaos. This is completely insane, and I do want to single out Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, as the best action picture in the world. It's the Jaws of action cinema. It's pure movie making, and as a series, I think it's the most impressive movie series ever made. And I'm a huge, I guess, fanboy of it. I just call myself a lover, admirer, cherisher. Mad Max himself. Hi, I'm MadZack, the Nightcrawler, and I just want to talk about the series. The first Mad Max, where you see him go from policeman to greatly affected, forever altered, dark personality, road specter or ghost, not even really a warrior yet. And it's deeply deranged and often depressing, but what's most interesting is that the apocalypse, whatever great event, has already happened before the events of Mad Max 1. And Mad Max is just holding on to his sanity by a thread, and that thread is his family. And once that is severed from him, he loses touch with what makes him human. He loses touch with the human condition and turns into something cold, something violent, but something intimately relatable at the same time, something with a psychology, something with a very damaging philosophy. And throughout all of George Miller's movies, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, Beyond Thunderdome, and the incredible Fury Road, what fuels these films, this film series, is modern anxieties. Modern anxieties, what fuels the highways, what propels them, how anxieties travel, like futurist male humiliation, Western deconstruction. It's about the deepest, most, I don't know, terrifying ideas of post-apocalypse. You use modern anxieties to really shine a light on everything uber masculine or uber male or just uber human that just defines us as people, and I guess as icons or part of a greater Cyclops iconography. Just to bring things back to a ground level, I fucking want Max's car. That is the coolest fucking car I've ever seen in my life. I want to drive it. It is awesome. I mean, Mad Max is also about cars or vehicles as extensions of yourself, your personality, your spirit, and how completely damaged, ravaged, and basically they all turn into fireworks, but they're kind of beautifully demolished, and some are just completely disgusting and ugly. It's interesting. And I go back and forth in my head over whether or not Mad Max 1 or Beyond Thunderdome, which one is the weakest entry in the series. I go back and forth on this. Because Mad Max 1 has that, like I said, a really deranged sensibility and a kind of nihilist sensitivity as well. And I guess the Western elements are a lot more prevalent in Mad Max 1, and I think that overall, probably Mad Max 1 is the better film because Beyond Thunderdome does seem like electroshock Spielberg, like Hook on LSD, whereas Mad Max 1 is almost a it's a really interesting deconstruction of popular Western iconography and symbols. It's like taking John Wayne. No, 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 no. It's like taking Clint Eastwood and stripping him of his humanity and masculinity and putting him into a world where he is defenseless and must change, and putting him up against villains who represent nothing but evil, but like nothing but wickedness, right? So Mad Max 1, although there are pacing problems, Mad Max 1 does have its problems. I still think it's an incredible movie. It's definitely one of the more affecting films, one of the more emotionally devastating films in the series, if not the most emotionally devastating. It's a bit difficult to watch, and I know it was butchered when it came to the States from Australia. They even like overdubbed Mel Gibson's voice for some reason, even though he no one's ever had a problem understanding what Mel Gibson has said, but it was a very challenging film. Even when you watch it today, Mad Max 1 is a very, very challenging film. And I think it's more sophisticated than a lot of people let on. I just do think that George Miller did have quite a bit to learn at that point about movie making dynamics. And I mean, thank God he would go on to make The Road Warrior, and the difference between Mad Max 1 and The Road Warrior, they're night and day. They are completely different. The Road Warrior is complete bananas. It is completely insane. What he did was he drew on like new mythological concepts and applied them to his Mad Max character, like stripping him directly from an unused Edith Hamilton story. And it's not only do you have more pathos in The Road Warrior than you did with Mad Max, you have eternity now because you've created a myth out of a tragedy. If Mad Max 1 was the tragedy, then The Road Warrior is the myth. And you know what? Fuck it. Just fuck it. The Road Warrior, not only my favorite action movie ever made, it's my favorite movie ever made. I'm going to go on record on that. I mean, this is recorded for all time. I can stand by that. Because The Road Warrior is pure action filmmaking, and pure action, like pure horror, should be purely visual. The action film should not rely on dialogue, but on images, and The Road Warrior remains the ultimate model for the action film. It is representative of everything that is great about the genre. It uses the medium the way it was intended, the way it best serves a story, through images. There is something wholly remarkable and wholly pure about it on a very basic and fundamental filmmaking level. It is easily a great, it's like, it's the best action film ever made because of the audacity of its images, but it's also the best because its audacious images are presented lyrically, for they are rhythmically sound and poetically able, and powerfully revealing and competent in both communication and conveyance. Action filmmaking should be regarded as a supremely visualist venture, and The Road Warrior tells everything visually. The Road Warrior mythologizes Max. This adds a whole nother level of wonderment to the piece. The Road Warrior makes Max the stuff inherent of mythology, like a long-gone hero of the ancient world, as if told by Homer, by the storied bard himself, a hobo Homer of Max's myth. From the very beginning, Max is presented as folklore and legend. This is how the story first unfolds, and it's also how it ends. It's how it concludes itself. It first shows itself in the guise of epic myth, and what follows is a manic fable of truly heroic deeds, misfortunes, and triumphs. Some kind of surrealist fresco anarchy. The central themes of heroism, self-identity, absurdism, survival, hope, and soul are all carefully constructed, idealized, and expressed. Several of these themes are inherent of the post-apocalyptic nightmare, but others are wholly unique to the film's whims. Self-identity and absurdism are entirely distinctive qualities of the Road Warrior. Self-identity is expressed by Max, and how he doesn't long for one, yet wars with his undying sense of self. Is a greater understanding of self beneficial to one's survival, especially in a post-apocalyptic world? No, but the problem of self-identity is also expressed by the world itself. The dark and twisted and macho electroshock wasteland, unsure of its place in this misbegotten new age, the environment itself seems uncertain and rebellious of its boundaries and desired characteristics, always evolving in a more bonkers way than before. And the theme of absurdism is rampant in The Road Warrior. As Camus once said, existence is illusory and it is eternal. The film meditates on absurdism and adopts it in a manner philosophically transitory, as if by a vehicle. Shifting beliefs and allegiances, self-discoveries abound and alter the path to enlightenment, forever carving out the highway on which the road warrior treads. This is a film with a lot to sink your teeth into, but more important than that, it's a feast for the eyes and the ears. It is pure filmmaking. It's pure cinema. Like I said, it's the Jaws of action movies. You can just get lost in the images, the set pieces, the chases, the explosions, and Mel Gibson as the ultimate hero himself. It's a perfectly built engine of a film. It makes me fucking gleeful. It is total energy. It is completely fucking amazing. And Lord Humongous is the most terrifying action villain I've ever seen. I used to think that I was more into those, like, Hans Gruber types, the more intellectual, the more suave, the more articulate villains. That's what I used to find myself attracted to in action movies as far as villains are concerned, but lately I've been into, like, Lord Humongous, the Kurgan, Immortan Joe, even from the newest Mad Max movie. I'm obsessed with these villains that seem impossible to penetrate, impenetrable, like, with impenetrable psychologies and even, like, more daunting and intimidating, like, physicalities. Like, they are completely fucking terrifying to me. Like, Lord Humongous is the stuff that male humiliated nightmares are based out of. And he looks like fucking Satan, like, orchestrating, conducting his vicious gang. Lord Humongous from The Road Warrior is the greatest action villain ever, because the image of him, the look of everything about him, like, actually gives me nightmares. Like, action nightmares, like high-octane fueled nightmares. Lord Humongous, scary motherfucker. The Road Warrior really shows a couple genius things. It shows George Miller's genius on a level that's just unparalleled when it comes to action filmmaking. The Road Warrior is the greatest film ever made because of how purely visual it communicates its information, and because of just how perfectly put together it is. It also shows the genius of Mel Gibson's charisma. I love Tom Hardy in the new Mad Max films, but he's missing that ineffable, indescribable something that goes into making Mad Max more than just a man with no name. That it makes him a myth, it makes him a legend. You don't really get too much of the mythic quality from Tom Hardy's rendition of Mad Max and Fury Road, but that's fine, because Fury Road, that's Charlize Theron's film. That is Furiosa's film. Furiosa is the hero of Fury Road. She steals the entire movie. And also, Fury Road, oh my god, that's another one of my all-time favorite action movies. I mean, if I'm just going to list right now top 5 favorite action movies, number 1, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, without question, without a doubt, also my favorite movie. Number 2 would be Hard Boiled, the John Woo, Chow Yun-Fat, exhausting epic. I mean, you feel like you never want to hear another gunshot again for the rest of your life after you watch that movie. Number 3 is Escape from New York, which I hope the reasons are self-evident because it's so fucking good. And number 4, that's where Mad Max Fury Road comes, because it's just so impressive, and George Miller proves all these years later that he's still an absolute fucking lunatic. And it's just so good, and it's just so impressive. Number 5, if you're wondering, is Die Hard, because, reasons. But Fury Road is just so fucking twisted and good. And we were talking about how Mad Max 1 had pacing problems. Those are gone. Those are completely gone in Fury Road. I mean, I think they're gone by the time that The Road Warrior is made, but that's because the Road Warrior's pacing is just don't stop. If we stop with it, then it's because Lord Humongous has to give a terrifying speech. That's the only reason we're stopping. Whereas Fury Road seems to operate on a 30-minute, then a 30-minute, and then 4 15-minute acts that just keep you pumping, just keep you good. And it's just, oh my God. Oh my God. It's an addictive film because you can watch it literally every single day. Fury Road. It's just, oh my God, it's completely incredible, and it just helps make it the most outstanding film franchise. And like I said, yeah, Tom Hardy though, I'm not saying he does a bad or a poor Mad Max. It's just he's no Mel Gibson. I'm just gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. He is no Mel Gibson, but what he is a great Tom Hardy. He's not a great Mad Max. Every once in a while, he's got that look in his eyes. He's got that. Like I said, it's an indescribable quality, but he has it sometimes, and it's undeniable as well when he does have it. It just comes few and far between. Whereas Charlize Theron's Furiosa, oh my God, now that is another great action hero for the ages. I mean, that's probably as far as female action heroes are concerned, she's up there with the Bride, if not more impressive than the Bride. She's an incredible action hero, and thank God that the 2010 aughts or the 2010s actually have movies like Mad Max, Fury Road, John Wick, and Logan, just to name a few, that prove that action films are still better than ever, still more alive. And Fury Road is the best of all those three. It is brimming. It is overwhelming. It is just overflowing with creativity and imagination. It's just completely fascinating. You get it's a wasteland beauty of Cyclops cinema. Just all these films have fearless stunts. I mean, you want to watch these films for the stunts. I mean, people should have died making these movies, and maybe they did. And I'm just not educated enough to know that. But you get new definitions of heroes as not truly heroes or heroic, but as different situations. And Fury Road really drives home this idea that was played with all throughout the series before. Even in something like Beyond Thunderdome, they played with this idea. They certainly played with it in The Road Warrior and the first Mad Max. Fury Road really brings home that concept of hope kills. If you have hope in a universe where hope is a concept that is impossible to thrive even for a moment, then it's killing you. Then it's poison. You need to be realistic. And that might sound like a pessimistic view, but once you give up all hope and just give into the goal, the overall ruined dream, and understand the properties of it that makes it ruined and impossible to achieve, if you just give into the ruined dream of hope, you can achieve incredible things and go on astonishing adventures. But it's actually very interesting because you can give up hope but give into the ruined dream and just rebel against it violently, angrily, and, for a lack of better words, heroically. So while Mad Max 1 might appear to be a film with an identity crisis at times, it's true, sometimes the film doesn't know what it's trying to be, but overall what it's trying to do is damage you and excite you, and it does both of those things. And I think it's a really good movie, a really good place to start. Like I said, I think it's the most challenging of the 4 Mad Max films, and definitely essential watching. And if I were to make a long list of my favorite action movies, it would certainly be there, and it would certainly be there under best westerns as well. Like I said, it's super challenging, super dark, and just you walk away from it changed, just like Max. And Mel Gibson really emotes that change so perfectly at the end of the movie. Like, this is not the same person. This person has been altered forever. And of course, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, not only is it the greatest sequel ever made, the greatest example of filmmaking ever made. It's my favorite movie ever made. It's the best. It's just the best movie of all time, you know? That gives you, The Road Warrior gives you Mel Gibson as the samurai of the future, as a Ronin road warrior. And I honestly know it by heart. I can put it on and I can repeat every line. I know the whole Lord Humongous fucking speech that he gives at the gates, that the Ayatollah rock and roller gives. I know the entire speech. And this is like the ultimate futurist samurai film, the ultimate thing ever. And these aren't the Road Warrior and Fury Road in particular. These are movies where the images get seared into your brain, and you can't unsee George Miller's lunatic fucking vision once you've seen it. You can't unsee it, even if you don't, you know, even if you don't relate to the symbols and the images and don't find much to like there. That means you're a garbage person, by the way, if you don't like these movies. If you don't like these movies, you're a fucking garbage person. But if somehow you are a garbage person, you still won't forget these images. They'll still be with you forever. Lord Humongous fucking rising out of the flames like a goddamn Satan, that's going to be with you forever. Mel Gibson, you know, half his face swollen, can't see out one of his eyeballs with a goddamn fucking crossbow. That's going to be with you forever. And Morton Joe will be with you forever now, because that's an insanely rich villain. And these universes are insanely detailed and incredibly rich. I would read like a George Miller, you know, huge textbook of his world, because he created one of the most fascinating cinematic universes ever. It's one of the most original, imaginative, and bananas worlds ever created for film. And, you know, yeah, fuck it. The Road Warrior is the best movie ever made. You want to fight me? Let's do this thing. And Beyond Thunderdome, a lot of people like to give this movie... there are a lot of detractors from this movie, and I completely understand why. George Miller and company seem to have been targeting a younger audience. And for the most part, yeah, there are a couple cringy moments in it now, but overall it is still an incredibly creative venture. And if you call it a failure, then it's a fascinating failure to watch. And it's really when I say that it is really imaginative, and I do want to single out that the Thunderdome fight itself between Blaster, between Mad Max and Blaster, that bungee boosted gold mine of a fight. There were so many gags and concepts and ideas to mine out of that Thunderdome fight, and you better believe George Miller mined every single one for all they were worth. And it's actually one of the most exciting fights that I can think of in an 80s action movie. It's really cool. And also, come on, man. Tina Turner is the shit. She's the real Tina Turner, and she was there as a villain. Fucking rock and roll. She was so cool. That is just so fucking cool to me. You might have your own thoughts on Tina Turner, but if they're anything less than thinking that she's a rock star, super goddess, queen vixen, then you're a garbage human being. And it was awesome seeing her in The Road Warrior, and it also makes for a surprising ending that I actually really, really dug. You think that Mad Max is going to be murdered by Auntie Tina Turner and the gang that survives near the end, and she just smiles and laughs and says something like "Aren't we a pair, Raggedy Man?" You know, and leaves him there. And Mel Gibson was really good at emoting without saying anything, which goes back to the visualist, purely visual storytelling dynamics of George Miller, because he gives Tina Turner this look of not mutual kinship, but or camaraderie, but mutual damnation. Yeah, we've both been ruined. And that's a good ending. That's a really good ending. So Road Warrior is the best movie ever made, followed up by Beyond Thunderdome, and it is difficult to make a decent Part 3. For some reason, a lot of these films fall apart around Part 3, which is kind of confusing, because I can think of a lot of Part 4s, or at least technical 4s, that are very good, Fury Road being one of them. And Fury Road is one of the best action movies ever made, and certainly, if you want to classify it as a reboot, which I don't think you should, because I think it's more of a continuation of the mythic story, and also timelines aren't too important in Mad Max. We all know that Mad Max 1 comes before all of the others, but timelines really are not that important inside of inside the Mad Max universe. So Fury Road, you can just imagine it comes at any moment and any time, because time itself doesn't. It's just as nonsensical and non-linear as the crazy characters who inhabit this universe. So Fury Road is more of a continuation of the Mad Max story than anything else, more continuation of a never-ending myth. And it's so fucking good. Once again, I want to single out Furiosa and Immortan Joe as I'm thinking the best hero and the best villain I've seen in movies in the last 10 years at least. And I mean, bra fucking vote to them for giving us just such an awesome movie. So Mad Max 1 might be the fetus of a masterpiece. The Road Warrior would be the master work that I worship. There's an altar for Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior, and I am the high priest. And then Beyond Thunderdome, that's a fun beer movie. That's a movie you watch with a beer. You don't have to pay too much attention to it, but it's highly entertaining. Most likely, it is probably the weakest of the three. But still, these are two of these movies are masterpieces. One is a very challenging and very risque and entertaining and interesting debut feature film, and the other one is just complete like 80s buffoonery and fun. You kind of get everything that you want to get out of an action franchise from each component of the Mad Max series, and they all come together to make my favorite franchise ever. And I'm just completely astonished by how good the Mad Max series is and how great of a movie star Mel Gibson was. And I want to say that I shouldn't even have to say this, but I was raised in a pretty Jewish family. And Mad Max, because he is Mad Max to me, but Mel Gibson has said some pretty anti-Semitic things, but I don't know if I'm either more sophisticated and can see through complexities better than most people can, or if I'm just kind of have my fanboy blinders on, but I can separate the entertainer from the belief system. And I wish that Mel Gibson still had a career, because I feel like we're missing, there's been a huge dent in the action genre since he's been ostracized. Liam Neeson came and just stole his career. I mean, he's making movies like Payback and Ransom. He's making Mel Gibson style movies now. And Liam Neeson, you're no fucking Mel Gibson. You're not fooling me. You may have fooled the rest of the world, but I need Mel Gibson back. And Mel Gibson's most incredible role was Mad Max. And he's going to go down in film history as Mad Max, regardless of whether or not you want to give him that mantle or that spot in the Hall of Legends. He's already got it. He's already earned it. Mad Max is forever a part of the ultimate action film history, and he's also my favorite action hero of all time, and there's really nothing you can do to change that. We miss you, Mel! We miss you, Mel! Oh my god, I just remembered in Beyond Thunderdome where Tina Turner and Mel Gibson initiate a game of midget tug-of-war, atop a fast-moving train. It really just doesn't get much better than that, folks. It really doesn't. And yeah, Fury Road, Charlize stole the picture away from Mad Max, and really, ultimately for the best possible reasons. But it is complex enough for you to understand that while Mad Max might not be the hero of that particular picture, Mad Max is Furiosa's hero. That is who Furiosa's hero is Mad Max. So the hero of the film is still Max. And number one's a very good movie with wicked cool concepts and super challenging, but there are flaws in it. And 3 is just, I don't know, just a bottle rocket of craziness that I appreciate for the fireworks of it. And really, what is a road warrior? It's something that George Miller created. It's a concept that he created, and it's something timeless that we all know what it means in our hearts, but it's a bit difficult to articulate and to really illustrate in words, because you can only do it visually. Like I can visualize, I can picture Road Warrior in my head, and I can see several facets of myself inside of, the futurist samurai perpetual outlaw that the Road Warrior would be constantly searching for redemption, not as an abstract state of mind, but as a physical space, as an actual environment beyond this infinite wasteland. There is a place called redemption, and we can live there, we can be there, we can find it, because we're all looking for redemption. All of us. That's what makes Mad Max so fucking human and so mysterious at the same time. So enigmatic and so intimate. And that's what makes Mad Max the best action series ever! Okay, so that is the first mini episode of the Nightcrawler podcast, which is really just me salivating, drooling over what I think is the best action movie franchise of all time, the Mad Max franchise, and hopefully you're digging this podcast so far. Yeah, we talk mostly about action movies, but we also are going to go into horror, comic book movies, science fiction movies, animated movies, you name it, television shows, anything. Anything awesome with a few explosions in it, because that's kind of what I personally nerd out about, crime-related tales. I mean, maybe you know where the title of the actual podcast itself came from. It's a pretty good movie. And yeah, just for this first podcast, this first mini episode of the podcast, really wanted to focus in on what I consider to be the most impressive, the most beautiful, and the most gorgeous movie ever made, and the most exciting, enthralling, and thrilling, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, and Mad Max Fury Road. They both occupy both sides of my heart, are just occupied by those two films, and I love them to death, and I can't stop cherishing them. And I'm actually gonna go watch them like right now. I'm probably gonna put on Fury Road right now, because I literally just watched The Road Warrior before doing this podcast for like the 100th time, and Fury Road really needs to catch up there. And once again, this is MadZack, the Nightcrawler himself. I want to thank you for listening, and we're going to be back probably next week with a real episode, real conversation with guests, and we'll debate and things like that. I know there was a little bit of confusion over the last comic book episode, and I will do a mini episode to clear up any confusion, because it sounded like we really didn't like too many comic book movies, and that's kind of, at least from my point of view, they have a lot to learn still. They might be the most popular thing in the world right now, the biggest money makers in Hollywood right now are comic book movies, but I don't think that they've achieved a level of mastery that people like George Miller and like John McTiernan or John Woo had with their own kind of original action concepts, free from comic book restraints. But we'll go into that more. I mean, I did watch Logan again, and I'm completely in love with that movie. That's a great action movie, and I think it's actually the best comic book movie ever made. Definitely one of the best action movies I've seen in recent memory. So that defeats The Dark Knight. There's a new king in town. His name is Logan. It's a no-brainer because Logan is a brilliantly perfect action movie. It works best just as a great action movie. Just as an excellent action movie, and you see things done in there that you've never seen before. It's really the ultimate knife fight movie, and you don't have too many of those outside of a single amazing scene in The Man from Nowhere. You don't just have awesome knife fight movies, and that's essentially what Logan is throughout the whole thing. And Hugh Jackman's physicality is just so kind of scary sometimes, wobbly, but fierce, I guess, like an animal, whatever. But I'll go into Logan some other time. This podcast was all about The Road Warrior, all about Mad Max, all about my favorite thing in the world, which is Mel Gibson and George Miller's amazing character, Mad Max, and The Road Warrior. Amazing movie. I want to thank you for listening. We're closing in at 35 minutes here, and I'm trying to be a bit more mindful of time restraints on the podcast, since apparently time restraints have been put on this podcast. I can only put on a certain amount of minutes every month. So trying to keep this at a decent length. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, reach out to us any way that you can. Contact us with ideas, questions, and we'll definitely get back to you. Definitely. Either myself, MadZack, or Crazy Craig, Joey, Ashley, Derek, and any of the other people that you've heard on the show. we'll definitely get back to you guys. I want to thank you for listening to Nightcrawler first ever mini episode, and why don't you go out there and watch Mad Max, or at least go for a joyride. Go just a little bit over the speed limit. Go fucking be a road warrior. All right. You know what, guys? Have a good one. Peace. Gotta make you cringe at the end. That's what I do.